What is up, guys? This is AlintheaYoh coming today with a brand new Duel Diaries. Now, first off, I just do want to say apologies that this is delayed by a day. Basically, what happened is I do a lot of replays on my laptop, and then I transfer them over to my iMac for editing. However, I realized that I had a lot of corrupt saves. Now, the one saving grace was the first replay that you just saw with the Zodiacs, with the 4 Solemns. That actually played, so I'm really happy about that, because I don't think I would have ever been able to replicate that in any way, shape or form. I'm trying to find someone who had that exact opening hand, so I'm just really happy that one was. But fortunately, I've spent the best part of Sunday now going on and getting more replays, which takes a long time because a lot of people just rage quit when they see lawn mowing, so it's annoying. But anyway, getting on to the video, apologies for that. I have it here now, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over the first replay, which was the Zodiac one, just explain some of my reasons for playing certain cards and the way I went about it. I'll show you the deck going first and going second, with lawn mowing and without lawn mowing, and also one of the downsides to the deck, which is a loss, which will be towards the end. But yeah, so without further ado, we'll go straight into it. This is the first replay that you saw, basically when Zodiacs just went off. I swear to God, I think out of all the Zodiacs I play, 9 out of 10 of them open Terror Top. It's so annoying just to see, and it's just like, well, you've just got your instant combos. You can get your +3 draws, depending on if you're going for the Coach King variant, or you can just go absolutely mental with like Emerald or something like that. So I'll just let it play out. And you can see basically what he does have at the end, because I know obviously the replays are pretty quick. This is what he ends with. He has a Maxi, and he has a whole bunch of other cards. Maxi and 4 Solemns, with Barrage as well, and the Zodiac Trap. So at that point, I was just, when I was playing against it, I was like, okay, this is fair enough. Then he did that, and I was like, okay, how do I play around this? So I know I saw 2 cards. I saw the Solemn cards, and I saw the Barrage, and I saw the other Solemn cards. So I saw the Warning and the Strike. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Draw. I was like, okay, I've drawn into the White Prince. I was like, that's not the best draw in the world, but we'll see what we can do with it. So I play Solemn Strike. I play Solemn Shadow Fusion even, to see if I can try and bait something out. Basically, all of these plays are baiting out its back row. And they look like they're very offensive, potentially dangerous plays for the opponent, especially because he has some low monsters on his side of the field. But they're all bait. The whole reason, because I know I can get to lawn mowing, the whole play that I do is to get to the king. And I kind of had a feeling that he didn't really know what I was doing, because he was striking a lot of different things that I was baiting him for. So that's why I was like, okay, let's do this. So 1 down. Quite happy about that. Shiryu Salter gets popped by Dryden. I was like, cool, that's fine. It means that I can use its effect later on. So I lawn mow quite a lot of stuff, and I'll just let this play out. I think he strikes the hedgehog, which I'm pretty sure he didn't mean to. I think he was trying to hit one of the other the chains, but unfortunately that's not how it works. So you can see that we milled 1 White Prince, which was pretty decent. But then a lot of it is kind of a big mix of things. But we did get 2 Mizukis and a Snow and a Plague Spreader, which was very, very good. Plague Spreader isn't really used in this build, well, in this replay, but still. So I didn't hit a dragon, so with Skamata, I send the dragon to pop a back row, and I hit a strike. So at this point, I was like, oh wow, you have a warning, a strike, and 2 strikes. I was like, you opened up pretty godly. So I was like, okay, I felt pretty comfortable in the fact that his other back row may be reactive, may not. So I was like, fine, I'm just going to play it out. And see, I drew into the drew into the soul charge, which was pretty decent. But he has Max C, and I'm like, you've opened Godly. This is ridiculous. So I was like, fine. I'm going to have to try and wear you down. You've got 2 possible live back row. Stardust. So the reason why I went into Stardust here is because normally if my opponent hasn't used the Trident effect, I'll normally go into Stardust. Because I'm like, okay, I know that I can stop you in your potential plays. Stardust can protect me from a lot of different things. So at this point, I was like, okay, you've striked me. You've used 3 strikes and a solemn warning. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, unless you open the most broken thing in the world, I'm going to kill you now with King. So I ignore the Soul Charge for now, because obviously I can make certain plays. I wanted to get that last White Prince out of my deck, because I still had Mizuki in the grave. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to bring out King now. And he didn't have any response to the summon, so I was like, I've got this. This is ridiculous. And a 13k King, and that was my banish zone. With all my Mizukis gone, I basically went whole ham. If that did get stopped in any shape or form when it was summoned or something like that, I was going to be like, okay, I still have the Soul Charge to bring back like the to bring back a lot of these different cards. I would have gone into Omega and Void Ogre Dragon and things like that to protect myself. So I wasn't exactly going to die, but I think I would have been quite behind because I would have to get rid of a lot of life points, 5,000 to be exact, just to try and get into something. So you could see, if we just step back, oh, we won't be able to step back, but that's fine. It's basically, you'll be able to see how many cards I would have in my graveyard to be able to go into it, but a definite Void Ogre and Omega would be there, and a couple of other things. So without further ado, we're going to the next ones. As you can see, I've got a couple lined up here. So here we have another Zodiac. We look at the hands. This is different from before. Look at this. They open Strike and Warning and Terror Top. Again, this is what I'm on about. It's just so unlucky. Anyway, so this is my opening hand, and I was like, okay, I got the Twin Twister, which is good, Law Mowing, and the Fusion. So I was like, okay, this is a pretty decent hand. It matches his opening hand pretty much. And what I will say, obviously he gets to go first because that's what they always choose. I always lose the dice roll. What I will say is with Zodiac, if I can get to Law Mowing and I can mill 8+ cards, which is way easy, because you'll normally mill way more than that, because they'll do this. They'll go through their deck and search out, do loads of stuff, loads of plays. He left that in attack position, I think, by accident. And you just got absolutely ham. Then I have a lot of outs for you. So these outs are not as ridiculous as the other one, but he goes to Thoroughblade to discard the Viper, which I thought was a bit of a strange play. I don't think he was the most amazing Zodiac player, but I may be wrong. But he does have Dimensional Barrier, Solemn Strike, and a Solemn Warning. So pretty decent field overall, 4 disruptional plays. So let's go into it. So I draw into another White Prince. So I Twin Twister straight away. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to see what I hit the Warning and the Barrier, and he changed the Barrier called Synchro. Very clever play, because primarily this is a Synchro deck. It can do XZ, but you want to hit the Synchro. So we go into a Beast, a Hedgehog, a White Prince, a Squamata, and a Falco. So hitting basically all the boxes there, which is pretty good. And I think I send a Dragon too. Yeah, I send the Dragon, hit the other back row, which is a Strike. So I'm like, okay, I've gotten rid of your back row now. I feel comfortable to make the plays that I want. I can't do Synchros, so I felt a little bit uneasy about that. But as you'll see, I'm alright about it. So Trident pops the... well, tries to pop the Solitaire, but I'm like, okay, well, Shikanaga's going to come into play here and basically get rid of that monster. And that effect. So he gets rid of the Bull Blade as well, which is in attack position, which was fairly cleverish because obviously it's quite low. Lady is, well, White Princess is going to send another White Prince to the graveyard. Now, I couldn't activate its effect because I had already got, I think it was 3 ladies or 3 vanillas in the graveyard. 3 vanillas in the graveyard. So you can still send White Prince, obviously, but then you can't activate its effect. But you can see here, I've got King on 13k, now 12k, but I've got 2 of them. And that's all she wrote. Like, I used White Princess's effect just to bring it down, bring Invoker's attack down. I mean, I didn't need to, but I like to because I wanted to flex a little bit. But even if it didn't kill him, he stopped it in some way, shape, or form. That board's ridiculous. I've got a live Shikanaga with Falco in hand. Yeah, I'm not losing that one. So moving on to the next one. So here we have ABCs. Again, open up with lawn mowing. Don't worry, there are replays coming up without lawn mowing. I'm going to go first, so keep out for them. But basically, it's a very standard opening for ABC. You have the strike. What was it? So he has a strike, a barrier, a twin twister, and obviously the standard plays. So very good as concerns for ABC. So this is my opening hand. I'm like, okay, well, I have the fusion and I have a lot of different cards, so we'll let it play out just so you can see. So I instantly lawn mowing because I'm like, let it play. So the reason why I insta lawn mowing, I want to see what type of reactive cards I can get from the shadows. So I hit a few that I can actually do things with. So I sent with Squamato, I send the dragon. A lot of the times I will be sending the dragon if they have back row, of course. I snipe the Solemn Strike, which is really good. At least it wasn't the twin twister. So then we go into the uni-zombie effect to send Mizuki to bring back the White Princess, and then he calls Synchro here, because basically my play here was Black Rose, and I would have won instantly on the spot. So he's very clever to go for Barrier and see the actual threat of the Black Rose. So I'm like, okay, I can still go through this, that's fine. So I fusion into the window, get a beast draw, and then summon the king, and then summon another king for my special second synchro. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I can do a lot of damage to you, but all you're going to do is tag out and go into your ABC. So I can't actually kill you this turn because Window can't attack because I've already used uni-zombie's effect to send to the graveyard, so only your zombies can attack that turn. So, and looking at the defenses, you know, they're kind of fairly decent, and White Princess can only get over 1, so he'd be left with basically a Tsukiyomi or a piece. I'd leave him with a piece, obviously. So I was like, okay, I need to do something. So the Beast Draw got me into Left Arm Offering, and this is probably one of the most disgusting plays you're going to see. I search for Raigeki. Activate Raigeki. Attack for game. This is one of the most brutal things you can do in this deck. Having an established king and then searching a Raigeki off Left Arm Offering is pretty brutal, and there's no real like amazing way around it. So I absolutely love doing that, and the best time to do it is when you have no field and you just have Left Arm Offering with cards in your hand. You're like, Left Arm Offering, go into Raigeki, banish Mizuki for king attack. It's just so ridiculous. So ABC doesn't really prove to be a problem. They can banish certain key aspects, especially the window, but at the same time I can overrun them very quickly. So this is kind of the theme for a lot of decks. I can overrun you, but if you set up godly, like you'll see in the last one, then it is a problem. Or if I kind of brick in the essence of I don't have any of my combo pieces, which I do have a lot, but it can happen because it happens in every deck, then obviously it's going to be much slower play. So we'll show you some other replays now. So we have Windwitch Eidolon here now, and again they go first. So this is where I don't open Left Arm Offering, I'm pretty sure it is, or the lawn mowing. So it just gives you an idea. So they have the Crystal Wing play, that's fine. Takes off what, 1,300 in total, and has 4 back row, which consist of Warning is mainly the most live one. Now I do have a Twin Twister, so at the time I didn't know he was playing Artifacts. So I just blind go for the middle 2. I always do that normally because I find that in the UK at least, a lot of duelists always put their main ones in the front and try and smoke screen you by putting things in the back to the left and the right. So I hit the I hit the Wonder Wand and the Warning, which is absolutely excellent for me. So here he negates the effect of White Prince, and I was like, okay, I can see why you're doing that, because it is a potentially scary thing, especially if you don't know what you're going against. But he can feel probably pretty comfortable that he has these. He probably would have felt more comfortable if he had the Warning, but never mind. So, Solitaire into uni-zombie. Uni-zombie is going to send a Mizuki, I think. Yep, and then I'm going to allure to see what I get. I draw into the Shadow Fusion, and also I think it was a Dragon. Yeah, and that's brilliant for my draws, because now what I'm going to do, go into Omega, then book a life back the uni-zombie. I'm going to use uni-zombie's effect to get king out of my hand, so then I can just basically make it another level 4, so for another synchro play. I get rid of Snowbell because normally they only play 1, and if they want to try and reuse it some way, shape or form, they can't. So the reason why I go for Shikanaga is to get another Mizuki engraved, so I can basically bring back anything to go into a synchro play level 4. However, I hit the instant fusion and my plan changes. I now go for one of my favourite cards of all time, Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. So I get rid of the Crystal Wing and also one of the Windwitches. Then Mizuki comes back and I think it's on like 3k, so I'm like, okay, I can't attack with anything else, but I feel pretty confident. I have a King and I also have the Omega. So he draws into the Sanctum, which is a pretty good card. I would imagine he would like to have had that earlier, but I'm like, fine. So he more attacks and hits my Omega. He could have hit any one of them and I still would have won, so it wouldn't really matter at all. So that was basically how you can play without the lawn mowing, without any of the important cards like that. Well, I say important, any of those cards, but you can still make the deck function. You can still have all of these different plays just off the Solitaire, the uni-zombie, and things like that. So we'll go into some others now. So here's one of me going first. So opening up like uni-zombie and instant fusion is just ridiculously fun, but I also open up soul charge. So ideas here: get a white prince out of my deck. I then have a level 5 synchro on my side of the field because I wanted to get rid of white princess out of my hands, because now I'm going to Norden into white princess, going to Omega. Soul charge back these wonderful cards here. So I probably should have put White Princess in attack mode, but it didn't really matter. So I get White Princess's effect again, which is pretty decent. And then I go into Void Ogre Dragon, get another White Prince. So I've used it 3 times. There is a 1 White Prince in the deck still, because I recycled one with Instant Fusion. And yeah, I'm pretty set up. I set the Burial for next turn, so I feel pretty comfortable about this. So I realise that he's playing Magic Spectres now, and I'm like, this could be annoying. So he activates one of the scales. So the whole idea of this is like, okay, I'm going to try and snipe a card out of your hand, and hopefully it's a scale. So when I do eventually hit it, it's the Dragon Pit, and I was like, okay, that's random. Fair enough. So you have 3 cards in your hand now. Void Ogre, I'm like, I'm going to negate this just to see if I can stop a possible scale. I was feeling pretty lucky, and I got pretty lucky because the the Fox is level scale 2, and he already has the 2, so all he has to do is just set back row. So I'm like, cool, I feel really comfortable now because I have a lot of plays. So I draw into the Book of Life, which is really good, especially considering I negated the actual activation of Crow. He now has a monster in the grave to actually warrant an activation of Book of Life. So because he has 2 back row, and I know what Magic Spectres play, they always play really heavy back row. They normally have a lot of the Mirror Force cards and such, which he does on this occasion. Even though I have Void Ogre, I still want to just be like, just in case, I'm going to go into a Lady in the White, which makes, if you don't know what it does, Lady in the White makes your level 3 or lower zombies except herself invulnerable to battle, spell, and trap cards. So really, really good for that. So I go into, well, I activate the effect of White Prince, but then it gets Tempest, so I'm like, okay, normally that would suck, but I'm going to activate it again, and I have Burial. So Burial puts him on 5k, which is really good. Switch it to attack mode. I should probably just let this play out. Air Force, negate. Even if I didn't have Void Ogre or he negated it in some way, shape or form, these would go back fine, but King wouldn't. King would stay there, and I'd swing for 5k. Don't know what he would have drawn next turn. In fact, we can have a look. Vanity's Emptiness, that wouldn't have helped him. Really, he probably would have had a few scales that he could have gone off with, but I think I probably would have been okay because of the Lady. His trap cards would have been invulnerable. He could have gone after the Lady, but at the same time, I still have, you know, decent cards in my deck. And what was I going to draw just out of interest? A Mizuki, so I would have had a Mizuki to draw, so that's fine. So you can see how that works. It was a little bit slower again without the lawn mowing, but you can see how it works just by abusing your princesses. It's really, really good. So going on to the next one. So here's a pretty poor-ish hand. It's not the most amazing, and then I realise I'm going against heroes, and now I get scared because I don't have an out to Dark Claw in my hand. So I'm like, okay, well, not only do you not have a Dark Claw, but you have a Rafflesia. But I luck sack so hard. I draw that one off, I draw it into Snow, and I'm like, okay, this is good for me. So unless he has an effect negation in the back row, then I'm kind of screwed. But I summon the Snow, flip it down, and then he activates Bottomless on it, and I'm like, okay, that's really good for me. You've just wasted your Rafflesia this turn. He probably felt quite angry at the fact that Snow was there. Probably had some nightmares, wanted to banish it. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to go into Shikanaga. Shikanaga is going to send the Mizuki and also a Skolmata. Send the Beast to get the draw. Draw into uni-zombie. Not most amazing, but whatever. Solitaire into uni-zombie, gonna send a White Prince effect. Then I have the instant fusion play to go into another White Prince effect and also a Trishula. Trishula's gonna send off the, I think it's the, yeah. So I send off the Rafflesia because I was like, I'm just gonna get rid of it. Now you can see that my graveyard is nice and full of the Skull Servants. We'll let this play out now. I'm going to activate the effect, 2,000, 5,000, much like the previous replay. In fact, it's 4,000 because I decide to go for a uni-zombie. Sorry, a Mizuki in the graveyard. So I've got another Mizuki there, and I didn't really want to push any further plays at this point. I felt pretty comfortable with my hands. I had a Shikanaga with a negate, so I was like, fine, this is all good. End phase Summoner Monk, so I'm like, fine, you must be like Hail Marying it. Even so, I would have been able to negate it with the Shikanaga, so at this point I was like, fine. I allure into what was it? I allure into the Raigeki and the Plague Spreader, and just Raigeki him for game. And I would have beat him anyway without the Raigeki, so it didn't really matter because I did have like another uni-zombie play. But at the end of the day, it was just Murder She Wrote. It was just, that was all. However, I will now show you where this deck ultimately fails. So playing against heroes again, and if I went first, this would be a broken hand. Because I don't go first, I lose. So this is basically what he ends up with. I'm going to let him mass change into the Dark Law. So he has 3 back row, which is a Call the Haunted, Trap Tricks Trap Hole Nightmare, and also a Treacherous Trap Hole. This is my hand. I have 0 outs to this Dark Law. I have not a single sausage. I have to allure and let him get the advantage to try and draw into a Twin Twister or something that would help me. I don't. So I have to banish. I banish the White Prince, or the White Mare, sorry, and he takes out the Solitaire. I'm like, fine, I need to kind of just protect myself as much as possible. Goes into the Shadow Mist. He probably should have done that in his turn to get the effect, but whatever. Draws into the Goblinberg. And this is it. This is like all it is. He's just flexing here. Doesn't need to really go into the lightning. But he does anyway. It's probably one of his biggest beaters in the extra deck. I try and Hail Mary draw it. Draw the worst possible card in the deck. And that's it. This is where the deck falls down. This is if you don't have an out to like a Dark Claw, or if your opponent like different dimension grounds you, that's it. Like, you can't really do much against it, to be honest. And that is the unfortunate thing with running like a 60 card deck. It's very difficult to get to some of your outs. I know in the previous replay I kind of looked out, but it's just one of those things. So yeah, we'll go on to the conclusion for the deck now. So this is basically the deck. The deck profile, in-depth deck profile, will be at the end of this video, as in a link to it. It was put up on Friday, so do go and check that out if you do want to know a bit more about the proper combos and such. But the thing about this deck is that it's a lot of fun. I really do like it. Whether or not I play this versus the 40 card deck, that still remains to be seen. I will be doing a profile of the 40 card deck, so do not worry too much if you do want that one. So the problems with this deck is, as you saw, Dark Law kind of craps all over it. And that is one of the unfortunate things. But if you're playing this, or you're playing any law mowing deck like Infernoid, sorry, that's the risk you have to run. You can possibly brick with it. So if we just do some like shuffling hands, you can see like that's a brick hands. That's not the greatest. This is a broken hand because you have these 3 cards are just the best for the deck. This is not really a brick hand because you have the Mizuki and you also have the Solitaire. Basically, if you open uni-zombie or Solitaire or the Left Arm Offering or Instant Fusion or Grass is Greener, you have so many plays. So while it is a 60 card deck, there are a lot of cards that can get you there. When does that ever happen? 3 of them. And also the Shadow Fusion really helps you too. Shadow Fusion is amazing against Zodiacs because you just basically go into Winder and just thumbs up them. The only way they can really get around it is using Viper to attack into it, or a monster to attack him with Viper attached and then banish it. That's the only real way they can get around it. But that's just one of them. You can normally try and protect it or stop it. Things that I would change, I'd probably take out Shikanaga for another Omega, because as you saw in 2 of the replays, I went first turn into 2 synchros. While Void Ogre saved me in one of them, I probably still would have gone for an Omega. if I had the choice. This is just brilliant. Hardly ever use Yazzie, but Black Rose I always use. It's a shame that in some of my other replays, I Black Rosed and attacked for game, but they were unfortunately corrupted, so I didn't have any chances to do that in the quick rush that I tried to do for this one. But Black Rose is brilliant for this deck. You have to play it because it is just a simple uni-zombie and Mizuki. Because if you don't know what I mean by that, it's just you get a White Prince effect off. You have this in the grave, so there's your level 3. I'll just sort them quickly. So you have the uni-zombie, you send the Mizuki, and if you have a White Prince in hand, you can activate the effect to get rid of it. Or if you've used a White Prince effect, you can then go into a Lady in the White. So White Princess, I meant, sorry. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can go into Black Rose. Black Rose is very important because it just nukes your entire board and your opponent's board, and means that you can safely just go into a King. And that's kind of all she wrote for those types of things. I realized that in this version of the deck, I don't have the sea monster, which is a bit weird because I put it in there, so it mustn't have saved. But in the replays, I didn't actually need it because I didn't go into it. But it is still a very useful card. So this helps you unbrick a little bit in the fact that if you only open up with, for example, this, or you only open up with like a White Princess to actually play with, you can summon the White Princess, activate the effects, instant fusion into this, and you have a Norden. So you can see the possible plays with that one. But yeah, so that is this deck. If you want to check out the deck profile, I will put it at the end of the video. Very important to go look at that one simply because I explain in great detail all of the different cards you can use. What I did notice is that I had a 61 technically card deck. Apologies for that. What I'd say is get rid of the 1-for-1 because the cards that I was basically, the reason why I was doing that, it was either the 1-for-1 or the Falco I was kind of taking in and out. And I realized that the Falco is kind of useful, but it means that I get more effects in the graveyard, so it's more interaction with myself, so that's why I liked it. But that is it. So let me know down in the comment section below what you thought of the deck. I have been trying out a new format. As you saw at the very start, we have a big replay, probably one of the best replays that I have. I make it a bit of fun and laugh and a joke about it, edit it up, and then we go into the detail like this. So let me know if you really enjoy that type of video and format, because there's 2 ways I can do these types of things, or 3 ways now. Is 1, just talk about the in-depth, go through the replays as I have. 2, just do a replay video where I don't talk about it but make lots of jokes like Cat does oh so well. Or break it down like this. Have a bit of fun at the start so you can see. So if you don't have time to sit through the whole thing, you have one replay just to look at how the deck works. You can see a couple of combos. And then if you do have time, you can sit down and watch the whole video, because normally these are going to be about 20 minutes plus. So let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the format. Please, that's really important. If you do enjoy it, give me a like. So yeah, that is it. Let me know what you think of the deck. Make sure to give me a like, comment, subscribe. The next deck profile and Duel Diaries will be Counter Fairies, so make sure to stay tuned for that one. So if you haven't seen the deck profile yet, wait till the end. In a few seconds now, there will be a video clip that you can click on to go straight to it. So as I said, let me know down in the comment section below. Make sure to give me a like, comment, subscribe. The skulls are coming for 2017. And I shall catch you guys later.